So I just drove for this platform Wrapify for 3 months. That turned into 4 months. I need to explain that in this video. And I'm also going to explain the exact numbers, how it works, actual campaign ending numbers, as well as 2 different scenarios. One where you should do Wrapify, one where you shouldn't. And ultimately, my overall verdict now that I'm done with the campaign. So let's get into it. So I've done videos talking about an intro to Wrapify, talking about my month 1, my month 2. So I'm going to give you just a quick intro to Wrapify. So they pay you to wrap your vehicle, either in part or in full with an advertisement. So what did I sign up for? I'm coming to you from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I'm driving a 2015 Volkswagen Passat, just to give you some context here. So I agreed to wrap my Passat in this for 3 months. As you can see here, this is the terms of a 3-month Wrapify agreement. Now, I'm agreeing to a light campaign. So there's 3 different types of campaigns on this Wrapify platform. So what I signed up for, and frankly, the only option available here in Pittsburgh at the time was, again, the light wrap. So it's going to be the most, I guess, quote, non-invasive on your vehicle. It's the smallest wrap option. And then here we have the partial wrap option, which is self-explanatory. Now, note below that the expected earnings as well. Now, with more of a commitment with the full wrap versus the partial and versus the light wrap, you get the most money with that full wrap shown here. My install day was September 23rd of 2021. And again, I mentioned 4 months, not 3 months. My removal was just a couple of days ago, February 1st of 2022. Quickly, I want to go over how it was, the actual experience with that wrap on my Passat. So the install, I had to go to a business, of course, here in Pittsburgh, to get this wrap on my Passat. Now that is free of charge, and the uninstall, it's free of charge. So as you can see here with the light wrap, we have the driver's side, passenger side doors. Of course, we have the opposite of that shown here, the passenger front and the rear passenger doors here. Take a look. We have the rear windshield shown here, and yes, this does make it a little challenging with visibility out the back. We can see here's a shot from the driver's seat looking in the rearview mirror. Not completely obstructed or anything. I could tell that a vehicle was behind me, but of course, limited detail on what was behind me, and as you'd imagine, even more challenging at night. So the way that this thing works is you get paid a certain amount as you're just driving around in your marketplace. So you can see here, it's paid, based per mile in essence. Now, there was some boost pay, a multiplier, if you're driving in a hot zone. And again, we can see it on the terms breakdown. You'll see this in your marketplace, which zones or zone is the hot zone, in which case I got paid 1.5x. And as far as how the platform works, that is basically it. You get the thing installed for free. I'm driving around Pittsburgh, and luckily, I guess, most all of here, the central Pittsburgh marketplace, kind of that metro area, it's all in that 1.5x. Because the goal of Wrapify is obviously ad impressions. So with the Amazon campaign, obviously they're looking to hire. Here in Pittsburgh, again, just eyes on the ad, you get it. So I'm driving around doing my things here. Firstly, let's talk about the pros of my campaign. So firstly, if you are new here, again, my name is Mike, and it's my commitment here on the channel to help you make money in different side hustles, really combining active revenue streams that really trade your time for money with semi-passive revenue streams. So if you're not a team member, I definitely invite you to subscribe and join the team here. But pro number one, we're talking about semi-passive income streams. I don't necessarily have to do too much and I get paid, this is one of the most semi-passive side hustles that I've seen. It's really one time commitment to get this thing installed, a similar, obviously, time commitment to make the appointment, to get it uninstalled. But other than that, I just went about my day. If you're driving for other side hustle apps, this is fantastic. If you have a long commute, or even both, this works out. I drive and I get paid. Well, speaking of pay, really pro number 2 is it is predictable pay. Let's think of other side hustles. If I'm going out to, let's say if you do rideshare, or if I'm going out to do food delivery, there's no guarantee what I'm going to make in that hour. It could be super busy. There could be bonus pay. It could be completely slow. I could not get many requests, or really many attractive requests that really make it worth my time to even be out there. So it's predictable. That's a good thing, but there's definitely cons with Wrapify. I'll start with the smallest con first. It's kind of a pet peeve more than anything. I didn't love the weekly pop pictures. It stands for performance operation picture or whatever. It's check-in pictures. You got to send check-in pictures every week. So just 4 pictures, the size, the front, the back of the vehicle, but I don't know. It's just the awkwardness of in your parking garage, your driveway, parking garage, parking lot at the grocery store, what have you. You're out there just snapping pictures of your vehicle. A little awkward, but again, not really a big deal. Con number 2, I don't really think you'd even do the platform if this was a big enough problem, but hey, this is something to consider. It's kind of the lack of privacy. My car is pretty heavily tinted, but imagine, if this worries you, you have obviously a lot more eyes in your vehicle, and this is the lightest wrap. Imagine if your whole vehicle was wrapped. Might not be a big deal. You might not care, but if you're looking for privacy, this isn't necessarily going to be the hustle for you. Okay, still not a crazy con, I guess, but number 3, something that is really a con in my opinion, it's really the smallest earnings threshold on the light campaign. So remember, it's the least obtrusive, it's the smallest wrap, and honestly, I would have loved to have the full wrap campaign option here in Pittsburgh. If I'm wrapping the vehicle anyway, I'd rather make more money doing the same thing, driving around, and have that option. But no, I had the light wrap, I had no choice here, so I'm not making a ton of money doing this on the light campaign. But don't necessarily write off Wrapify just yet. There's different use cases. Let's go into my overall campaign earnings. So firstly, let's look at a daily earnings example. I'm going to show you the daily, the weekly, the monthly, and then the overall campaign earnings here. But the daily, you can expect, at least this was my experience here. In fact, if you do have experience with Wrapify, feel free to comment down below. But with the 1.5x boost, I got around 31 cents to 32 cents per mile. And then for some context, without that boost, you're getting around 21 cents per mile. Here is a weekly example. Now note, $19.81, but there's not a ton of miles. Frankly, I wasn't doing a ton of driving, maybe running errands, going to the gym, a little bit of gig driving here, at least in this example. And here it's kind of an average of bonus pay and non-bonus pay, around 27 cents per mile. Monthly, in this example, $83.36, 21 cents per mile. So over the entire campaign, 3 months, that again turned into 4 months, how much did I make? I'm going to show you the number here, and I want you to consider really one of the biggest things to make sense of, is this worth it for you? Is how many miles do you drive per day, per week, per month? Think about that. Let's show you the numbers. So for my entire campaign, September to February, I drove 1,412.29 miles, and I earned $301.69. So that's a payout, the average here, of 21 cents per mile. All right, so pay attention to this, and if you are getting value in this video, would appreciate it if you drop a like, because I want you to now think of that number that I just asked you. How many miles are you driving per day? Because I don't think a lot of these days I wasn't driving a ton of miles here, especially with kind of winter setting in. So let me show you an example of more miles, and then this might be even more attractive than the $300 some that I earned here. So let's say you're driving 100 miles a day. And that is completely doable either if you have a long commute or if you're doing gig work that is definitely reasonable. And let's say you earned on the lower end of the pay, 21 cents per mile. Obviously, that is $21 for that day. So this would equate to, let's just assume, every day, obviously it's going to vary, but we'll assume 31 days, 100 miles a day, clearly 3,100 miles in the month times 21 cents equals $650 for that month. And of course, if you did half of that, 1,550 miles times the same rate, that is $325 for that month. I have two examples in my final verdict to doing this Wrapify thing. One example where you probably should at least consider Wrapify, and then another where I don't think it's going to be worth it for you. Let's get into that. So example number one, that it might be a solid option for you is if you're doing a lot more miles than a casual driver, let's say, if you're doing the 100 miles a day, because what this is, even on the light wrap, listen to this, even on that light wrap is it'll offset some of your business costs or your commuting cost. So especially if you're doing that gig work, you'd get the pay from, of course, the gig work. And then you're in essence getting an additional 30 cents per mile on top of that, just doing Wrapify. And then example number two, that it might not be worth it is, if you're not doing those kind of miles, half those miles, a casual driver, especially on the light wrap campaign here. Let's consider that. So if you drive a lot of miles and if you can get a partial or a full wrap, that's kind of ideal. But if you're just a casual driver and you're not going to do a ton of miles per day and you're on the light wrap like I was, at the end of the day, for like 4 months, again, not a ton of driving, but 4 months for $300, in my opinion, my verdict, not worth it. But if I had that partial wrap or the full wrap and I didn't have to necessarily contend with the incoming Pittsburgh weather, then I definitely think it would have been more attractive than the campaign that I got. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and I am still open to more campaigns with the Passats if I'm offered one of those partial or full wraps. So let me know your thoughts down below. If you did get value in this video, again, would appreciate it if you drop a like, and you can also click or tap screen here for my newest video, as well as a video recommended for you, and I'll see you in the next one.